Learn how to create, sustain, and scale up your print-on-demand business with the latest tips, guides, and strategies to help you start selling and making money today. Welcome to the Sales on Demand Show. And here's your host, Adam Schneider.
Hi folks, how's it going? Welcome back to the Sales on Demand Show. This is episode 53. Today I'm going to be talking about a number of things, but mostly I'm going to be talking about automation software. I just sampled something that I think it's a very good software program, and I'm planning to use it quite a bit. I'm going to subscribe to it, and I'll let you guys know how it's turned out. I actually just started using it today. So, first of all, today's sponsored message is from the Low Hanging System. If you're looking to get into print on demand, there is no better training program than the Low Hanging System. Really. What the training program that I'm putting together is designed to get you started, but the Low Hanging System includes so many things that I just cannot give you. I can give you knowledge, but the low-hanging system comes with the software you need to integrate with Amazon and eBay. It includes access to 4,000 people who are doing the program. Their wisdom is basically free. You could read through, hundreds and hundreds of posts and get enough information to last you for probably a century of doing this kind of work. And it also includes $50 in Gear Bubble credits and access to the Gear Bubble system, which is the system that we use to fulfill the items that we print. So click on the link in the show notes to sign up with the Low Hanging System. It's $297, and it's a great program, great investment. I highly recommend it. All right, so currently I am just getting over food poisoning. So I know I missed 1 week of shows. That is because I was away. That was a planned absence. I was gone to Lake Louise, and I just didn't have time to launch a show. And then the weekend following that, I went on a military training exercise. So I haven't really been home for a long time. And I'm ready to kick butt and take names and get a lot of work done over the next few weeks because I am a bit behind on my own business. So a couple things I've noticed is Amazon is a little slower than it was last year. It's down about 35%, and I think I know why. The first reason I think that Amazon is down is that we have this little thing called the coronavirus, and even though it's just barely in North America, not really, there's maybe a couple of dozen cases of it in North America, people are kind of, I don't want to say they're going overboard, but they're being very, very, very cautious, and of course, going out and buying supplies, which is not a bad thing, but it just means that everybody's focus is kind of diverted. Plus, anything coming from China has basically been delayed, hugely delayed, and that's going to cause a lot of problems. There's a lot of e-commerce sellers that are kind of hating their life right now. But listen, this is the way that business goes. There's always going to be something around the horizon that's going to get in the way of your selling. Very rarely do we have a year or even 6-month period where there's just nothing going on, nothing negative. Anyway, and there's a lot of positive things coming up that you need to be ready for. Probably the number one, I want to say positive thing, I don't know if it's really that positive, and that's the election, the presidential election, as well as I guess there's a few other smaller elections, but the one that's causing, it's probably the most potential for, selling is the presidential election, which is really weird. Like, I don't know why everybody, it's almost a cult of personality. I mean, it's not even almost. It definitely is a cult of personality that people look at the American president and they're just obsessed with everything to do with U.S. politics, when really politics has very little impact in our lives compared to other things like literally everything else. I mean, your local municipal government probably has more influence over your life than the president does. But, well, I mean, people are weird, so that's, we just try to make money off the fact that people are obsessive about these things. Don't worry about why. Don't try to change people's behavior. Just you observe people's behavior and you make money off their behavior. That's the way to be successful with print on demand. The second thing that I think is cutting into Amazon sales is that there are items that sold well previous years that are not selling as well anymore. This is mostly with FBA, Fulfillment by Amazon, but they are still selling. So the momentum on those items is slowing down, and the only way I think I'm going to be able to fix that is to add new items. And anybody in print on demand who is improving their sales year over year is adding new items. That just seems to be the way it goes, right? And again, it makes it tough for people who are first getting into these things, and I totally understand. I wish I could go back to 2017 when you could add, 100 listings to Amazon and just start crushing it. There are still people who are doing that, by the way. It's just finding the right items to sell that is challenging, and I'm just not, I don't have any special insight into the market. I see what I see, and I add products to the platforms, and for the most part, they do really well when I have time to do it, but I just haven't had a lot of time to actually add new items, and that is because I'm failing at my own advice. I'm not building my life around my business, but I'm working on that, and we're going to see some changes coming up in the next few months because I want to grow. I have to grow. So the third thing I think that's getting in the way is that overall people are buying fewer things these days. I think people are just more aware that there's a little bit of a recession coming, and they're just not spending as much money. The reduction is slight, but the first thing that goes when people are cutting expenses is that they stop buying frivolous things. They'll keep buying fuel for their car, and they have to fix the car and buy tires and stuff, but they stop buying gifts for their boss or for their their uncle or something like that, or they might buy something less expensive. So it does cut into our profits when recessions come, because gift spending is the thing that gets cut when people need to cut their expenses. They're not going to buy as many gifts, or they'll only buy them for their most closest friends and family. They're not going to buy them for their gym teacher or their English teacher or their kid's hairdresser or something like that. So again, focusing on the fundamentals and improving, building more around the family niche, I think is the way to go coming up here, because the family niche is evergreen. That is, moms, dads, wives, husbands, son and daughter, those kinds of products. And of course, Mother's Day and Father's Day coming up, and those are huge, 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 huge. So start working towards that. So, of course, I'm still working through my taxes from last year, and that is another slow-motion train wreck, but I think I'm almost through it. So, yeah, I mean, I wish, maybe next year I'll hire an accountant, but I can't be bothered to pay somebody thousands of dollars to do something that I can do. I know how to do my taxes. It's just annoying. It's annoying to sit there and sift through all the expenses, but it's not annoying enough that I'm not going to do it myself. I'm just not going to pay somebody to do that for me. So, one more thing I should add before we get into the main topic is Etsy. Etsy is changing their ads again. And it looks to me like they're going back to the old Etsy ads, the old sponsored ads, where all you pay for is higher placement in Etsy search. Now, that is just based on an email that someone sent me. I don't think I even got the email from Etsy, or at least if I did, I might have just deleted it because I get a lot of emails, and I just can't read them all. But I'm told by several listeners that Etsy's changing their ads. That's a good thing. And it means they listened to, people like me who said, this sucks. I don't like this. Change this. Now, it wasn't as bad as I had thought it was. If you recall last episode, I did mention that the ads seemed to be doing pretty well. And I will update even that by saying that ads are still getting a decent number of sales for me on Etsy. I just cut the ads off on everything that's not selling. I have ads running on only a few items. I have a very low budget, but it just seems to be popping up with sales. Almost, I don't know, maybe like 3 or 4 a week, which is not a ton, but it's more than, that's 3 or 4 sales I just wouldn't have otherwise. So that's good, and I'm not turning off my ads like I was planning to, and once the change has gone through, I don't think it actually has been, actually put into the system. I will mess around with it, and I will let you know if it actually is better and how to make the most of those ads. So, again, everything changes, and this is just the way it is. Amazon has also been adding a few additions to their ads, and I'm going to be doing a few episodes on Amazon ads because I know a lot of people would love to do Amazon ads, but it's very easy to do them poorly. It's not a game changer. It's just a helpful tool for things that already work. Just like it is on Etsy, running ads to items that the market doesn't want will not produce sales. You need to research and create designs that people actually want, and that's not that hard to do. I've already talked about this 100 times if I've talked about it once. But, running ads to items that you think should sell, you're just going to spend a lot of money and get no results whatsoever. You're just going to spend a ton of money. So, there's a way to go about Amazon ads that actually works. It gets a few sales here and there, and it can really help, especially during holiday periods, to get the most out of your FBA. All right, so that's cool. Let's talk about automation. So automation software, it's actually it's a new concept. Print on demand is a relatively new idea, and it's only been really around at the scale that it is right now for like 5, 6, maybe not even 7 years. Gear Bubble started in 2015, so that's 5 years ago. And already they're one of the number one platforms selling print-on-demand coffee mugs, necklaces, t-shirts, hoodies. And they're still growing, and they're actually growing faster than any other platform. So that's cool. But there are other platforms out there that have been selling print-on-demand items. Maybe some of them have been selling since like 2013, maybe 2012. But this is a very young business, and it's constantly evolving and changing and getting both more complicated but also better with new ideas, new products, and new ways to sell those products. And one of the things that has been poking up here and there, with anything, whenever you get software, whenever you are dealing with computers, there's going to be someone out there who is a giant nerd. And God bless those giant nerds. I love you guys. You guys really, you've made life great for me. And when I say giant nerd, I mean that with the greatest of affection. The nerds create the internet, right? They make it better. But man, there's some complex things going on when you're creating software. And there's a guy out there his name is shoot, what is his name? He's Italian or something like that. Anyway, he's created a program called Mug Samurai, and it's brilliantly simple, and yet I know that there's layers of complexity that he had to build into this, and of course it's going to cost money when it's launched, which I believe it's launching tomorrow. But let's first ask the question: why should you automate parts of your business? Etsy is difficult, if not impossible, to automate. And I've talked about this. Like, you can't really... you have to be physically present for people. You have to respond to customer queries. You can't really hire a VA, virtual assistant. If you don't know what a virtual assistant is, it's somebody that, you give access to your accounts and you get them to do things for you. And maybe you pay them a small amount of money. A lot of people have VAs that are in, foreign countries like the Philippines or Malaysia, and they just pay these VAs to do small tasks. That's kind of an automation. But anything that a person can do, a software program can do on a computer. And so, of course, people have been creating software programs that just, they do these things. So some of the automations that have come out are uploading to Gearbubble or uploading to any other software program. I don't know of any other print-on-demand platforms that have automated uploading. Gearbubble seems to be the only one that I've ever found any automated uploading. And that's good. It just seems to be the way it is. Maybe I just don't run in the right circles to hear about automations for other programs, but I try to be in as many print-on-demand circles as I can, so I feel like if there was something out there, I would have heard about it. Anyway, automation can reduce the amount of time it takes you to launch designs, and that is huge, because launching designs, creating designs doesn't really take that long, but launching them is a tedious and irritating process. And having an automation program to do that is great. Now, it has been difficult to... automating the creation of designs has been something that I know there's probably a few people out there that have figured it out for themselves, or, maybe they've created Photoshop scripts, but, the average person is just, they're just not going to be able to use that. I don't even know how to use a Photoshop script, and I consider myself to be fairly tech savvy. I could probably figure it out. I'm not very good at Photoshop generally. And, it's just not something that a lot of people do. So creating designs has always been sort of a manual process. And the people who, even if they use software to upload the designs, they're still paying somebody to create them. And I think in some cases they're paying like $3 to $5 per design to create these designs. And of course on Amazon, like, you might pay $3 to $5 for a design, and it just gets ignored by the Amazon algorithm. Now, there's ways around that. You can, if you really focus in on the keywords, find niches that haven't been tapped, find new trending topics, you can do well on Amazon, and you don't have to add thousands of items. But if you can add thousands of items, that's another way to succeed on Amazon. So doing both of those things is brilliant, and you should do both of those things. And automation is the way to do that. So this Mug Samurai software is it's the very first all-in-one program I've ever seen, and it seems to be working quite well. I just tried it out tonight. So basically what it is it creates white coffee mugs. So far, that's all it does, and only 11 ounce. But the software creator is adding in new features, and he's going to be adding in white designs on black mugs. He's going to be adding in the 15-ounce coffee mug as an option. But basically, what it does is you put in some phrases. So you still have to go out and research phrases that people want, they want to buy on print-on-demand items. And this is stupidly easy, because literally copy-paste. Or if you're looking up memes, you just type in the phrase. You can easily collect thousands of phrases in a short period of time. And, of course, the challenge for me is finding time to use all these phrases that I've collected. You can even use, merchant words or other research programs to find these phrases. And then you add to a spreadsheet, upload them into this software, and the system creates the actual design, the graphical design, uploads it to GearBubble, and that's what it does. Then, of course, you have to go in and upload it to whatever program, whatever platform that you want to add it to. That's actually pretty easy to do. Unfortunately, with Amazon actually throttles uploads, so you have to kind of do it slowly. You can only have 10 uploading at a time, or 20. I forget if it's 10 or 20. But then they throttle you. That's fine, whatever. There's another program that I use called GearBubble Bulk Lister that can just do that uploading in the background. So you just leave your computer open, you tell it, I want you to upload 100 things, and then it'll just pause every 10 items, wait for, an hour or so, and then do the next 10. So you don't have to sit there at your computer clicking upload every hour or so. You can have your computer just do it automatically. So it's brilliant. By the way, I'm going to include a link to the GearBubble Bulk Lister. It is a macro. I've talked about it before. It is a fantastic program. I've used it extensively. This is what I do. This is the program that I use to upload the designs that I create. So when I create a design, I go on GearBubble Bulk Lister, and I've bought the program. It's a one-time purchase. I think it was $40. It was just the easiest $40 I ever spent. And then it just uploads each item, scales it onto the screen. It's basically just a program that clicks around the screen and does what you would do when you're uploading a program. But it does it without you having to actually do it, which is huge. It's kind of like having a robot that can go out and do your grocery shopping. If there was such a thing, everybody would want one. Or, something to clean your car without you having to get in there and do it yourself. So those are two software programs that I use, that I will be using. One that I currently use and one that I will be using. And I'm probably going to sample the Mug Samurai for a month. It looks like it's going to cost around $60 for the basic setup. But, if you use it, then it's worth it, right? So that's what I'm going to be giving it a go. I think it's going to be a good program. And one thing that it also does is there's a section in there. So one thing I've talked before is that when you find a phrase that seems to be resonating with people, is that you need to scale that phrase up. So let's say, for example, it's like, oh my gosh, I hate this. I'm trying to think of one of these phrases, but I can never think of them on the fly. Something like, I'm a welder. If you see me running, try to keep up. Something like that. That maybe isn't the greatest example, but that's all I can think of right now. But that's what I mean by a phrase. So take note that the word welder in there could literally have any job title, any word in there. Like, I'm a bomb technician, I'm a nurse, I'm a police officer, I'm a English school teacher. So there's all these phrases that you can replace sections in them with different words and make an entirely new product for an entirely different audience. And that's what I mean by scaling up. And that's what people who are doing this in bulk. There's sellers out there who have 100,000 listings on Amazon. Well, they got to 100,000 listings by basically taking these phrases, stripping out one word, adding in a new word. Maybe they did it manually with a virtual assistant, but this program can do it automatically. And you just put in a list of the words that you want, you type in the phrase, you put an asterisk in where you want the word to be, and it just populates it. That's huge. I cannot begin to tell you how huge that is. That is a fantastic feature. And if this program didn't come with that feature, I would say it's probably not, it's worth it, but not as worth it. This makes it really worth it. So right now, the Mug Samurai program's kind of in beta, and I'm still I obviously haven't used it. Nobody's really used it that much. The guy who's created it is just trying to keep it from crashing, and he's adding new features, taking it offline. So it's still kind of like, a little bit of a cowboy program, if you will. But I have high hopes for it. The guy who's putting it together seems like a smart guy. He's diligent, dedicated, and I'm looking forward to seeing what he's going to be doing with this. Alright, so the other program I was talking about is called Gear Bubble Bulk Lister. It's actually been around for a while, and there will be a link to that in the show notes. It's a great program. If you have your own designs already, you can upload them to gearbubble.com sort of automatically. You do have to create a spreadsheet and put some of the information into the spreadsheet, but then once you have that spreadsheet ready, you just need the title and the product slug and just a few other things in there. And you can actually speed the process up by doing copy-paste. So really easy to do, really easy to use. Speeds up the upload process. You can use it for multiple kinds of products, like travel mugs, t-shirts, whatever. I mean, you put the same design on different products. That's how you scale up. Use the same design on different products and list them everywhere you can. Maybe you won't list everything on Etsy, but, you can try list anything that looks decent. If you spent more than 10 seconds creating the design, list it on Etsy. You never know. So that's it, guys. Thank you for listening. Hopefully, going forward, of course, we're going to try to maintain the 1 episode per week schedule. It's been a very busy month. I knew it was going to be busy. It's just the way it goes. Sometimes you have busy months, can't get everything done that you want to do. Good stuff is coming down the pipe, guys, though. Don't sit there and pine about, maybe your sales aren't doing as well as you hope. Get out there and make it happen. I mean, for my own self, I'm looking at my business and I'm like, I know I can do better than this if I just take the time to do it. All right. Talk to you all next week. Cheers.